Don't look so worried, Peter, my mother said. I'm sure he's done this hundreds of times before. Well, maybe not hundreds, the doctor said. But you've nothing to worry about, he assured. Nothing to worry about. That's easy for them to say. All I recall from last night's dream was looking at myself in the mirror, clad in feminine garments, and being told that the upper garments I wore were special training ones for boys. Special because it's designed in such a way that it cannot be removed by the wearer. It's not the sort of dream that I want to recall, either consciously or subconsciously. I seldom seem to have normal dreams. Just weird ones where I'm somehow forced or encouraged to wear girls' clothes. More often than not, I wake in a cold sweat and struggle to get back to sleep. Pay attention, Peter. The doctor's speaking to you, my mother said as my mind visibly wandered. Sorry. I gulped. You were saying? I was saying that after a little dream analysis, we'll hopefully get to the bottom of why you're not sleeping too well, the doctor reiterated. Hopefully. I gulped. Now, if you'll just concentrate on the watch, and try to clear your mind of all other thoughts. The watch swung like a pendulum. I followed it as best I could. I tried to clear my mind whilst the doctor calmly recited a repetitive string of hypno clichés. Relax. Clear your mind. Concentrate on the watch. Your eyelids are heavy. You're feeling drowsy. Empty your mind. Follow the watch. Blah blah, blah. Right, well, thank you. We won't keep you any longer, doctor, my mother said. Goodbye, Peter, and don't forget about that diary, the doctor said, smiling and nodding as if to say leave. I've witnessed hypnosis on TV numerous times, and since I'm unsure whether or not he actually hypnotized me, I'm presuming he did. But asking one way or the other seemed silly. Surely I'd know. I don't recall having a conversation about a diary, yet I knew exactly what he was talking about. I'm to keep a diary next to my bed so I can write my dreams down the moment I awake. Maybe that proves that he really did hypnotize me. It felt strange as we left the surgery. Like I'd just woken up and hadn't quite come round. I climbed in the passenger door of my mother's car. Am I going straight to school or home first? I asked. Home first, you can go in this afternoon, she replied as she fastened her seatbelt. She turned the key and as the engine chugged to life, said, well, that was certainly an eye-opener. What? Listening to your dreams. I gulped and feared the worst. What did I say? I nervously asked. Why don't you have a listen, she said, pulling a cassette from her pocket and handing it to me. What's this? I knowingly asked. It's the recording of your hypnosis, she replied. Pop it in, she suggested, nodding towards the in-car cassette player. I'd rather listen to it at home. I replied. Was I out for long? 15, maybe 20 minutes or so. Don't you remember? Well, no, 1 minute he was dangling that watch in front of me and the next you said let's go. It must feel very strange, she said. I've never been hypnotized before, she added. I didn't reply, but did try to recall if I felt anything at all. Very little was said as we drove home. I stared out of the window and watched the urban sprawl morph into suburbia and eventually into open countryside. The cassette felt warm in my hand. I know my dreams are weird, but I tend to forget them soon enough. I'm not sure if I want to hear them in detail. Mum slowed down as she approached the hamlet. As usual, she smiled and waved at the locals on the way through. Our house is on the far side and as sod's law would have it, we have to wait for a humongous cattle herd to cross from one field to another before we can continue on the final 50 yards of the journey. It's times like this I wish we lived in town again, Mum said as we waited. Unlike traffic lights, the herd can take 5 or 10 minutes to cross and they do it twice a day. We could have listened to all of that at this rate, Mum said, noticing the cassette that sits uncomfortably in my hand. Eventually, the cows crossed and the road was reopened. The farmer gave Mum a cheery wave and she smiled and waved back, before chuntering under her breath about building a tunnel. Why don't we give that tape a listen, she suggested as she pushed the eject button on the kitchen cassette player. I'd rather listen to it on my own, in my room, I replied. And I'd rather you listen to it with me, in here, she told me as she held an expectant hand out. Thank you, she chirped as I placed the cassette in her palm. Listening to one's own voice is always slightly odd. That doesn't sound like me, was my initial thought. It began with the doctor asking me to confirm some simple details such as my name, hometown, if I knew what day it was, and strangely, the color of the sea. I couldn't help but snigger when I heard my reply, a green, a blue, a gray. Did you have any dreams last night, Peter? Yes. Can you describe it for us? I was in my room and my mum. Well, I think it was my mum. It could have been an aunt or someone. Anyway, she was telling me how nice my undergarments were and I looked down to see I was wearing girls' undergarments. As in, knickers. Yes, and bra. I glanced nervously at my mother and insisted that I don't recall any of this. Mum advised me to just sit and listen. What color were they? Blue. Anything else? They were really tight. I tried to get the bra off but I couldn't. Mum, or the woman, said it was a special bra that I can't remove by myself. She challenged me to try again. And? Could you get it off, Peter? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I woke up. I remember the very last bit. I confessed to my mother about the bra. I gulped. Shush. Mum hushed. It's important that we listen. And the night before last. Did you have any dreams? Yes. Can you describe it for us? I'd wet the bed and Mum, or whoever, was really angry with me. She said she'd take me to the chemist's to buy some big boys' nappies and said I'd have to wear them for bed. Then we were in the chemist's. The one on the high street with all the mobility aids in the window. But they didn't have any big boys' nappies. Peter, my mother exclaimed when I turned the tape off. I don't want to listen anymore, this is freaky. I don't even remember that one. I retorted. I think it's important that you do listen, Peter, my mother said. I told her that I didn't want her listening to this kind of shit. Language, Peter, she snapped. I've already heard it. She reminded me. Which is why I know that you should hear it too. Okay, but please. Can't I listen on my own in my room? I asked. With headphones on, I added. I think it's best that we listen together, then talk about it. Then you can listen to it on your own if you want, she replied. She smiled and held her hand out. I gave her the cassette and gulped as she put it in and pressed the play button. Playing musical statues and my party dress is sort of floating around me. It's really hard to stand still. Oops, wrong side. My mother said as she pushed the auto-reverse button. Street with all the mobility aids in the window. But they didn't have any big boys' nappies. Only girls' ones. I glanced at my mother, who raised an eyebrow. Now I hear it. I do vaguely recall a dream involving girls' nappies. I gulped and hung my head as the cassette rolled on, revealing details of my dreams that even I can't recall. Well, not whilst fully conscious anyway. And bought a huge pack. Too big for a carrier bag. I had to carry them through town and everyone knew. When we got home I put them in my drawer. Each one had a different picture on the front. A princess, a kitten, a teddy bear, a butterfly. Loads of different designs. Mum told me to choose my favorite to put under my pillow. Ready for bedtime. And did you have to wear one, Peter? I don't know. I think so. I remember choosing one and Mum telling me it was nice. Then she gave me a pair of see-through rubber knickers with frilly trim and I complained that they were too girly. I think it ended there. Possibly. Any other dreams you'd like to tell us about? There are lots of school ones. School ones? Dreams about going to school dressed as a girl. There's one where I go to school in Scotland and have to wear a kilt because that's the uniform. Do you have this particular dream often, Peter? Sort of. It's always a bit different. Sometimes it's a normal skirt or one of those school dresses they wear on Neighbours. Are your dreams often about going to school and wearing an girl's uniform? Not always. Sometimes it's a swimming lesson but I'm wearing a costume because I forgot my trunks. One week the scoutmaster was sick so we had to go to guides instead. And you dressed like the other guides? We had to. So it wasn't just you. It was all the other boys too. Yes. I think so. I can't remember. Are you going to make me listen to all of this? I glumly asked. My mother nodded. Have you any idea how shameful it is for me? I can imagine that it's not pleasant. But it's important that you hear it. I'd rather destroy it and forget about it. Oh, I'm sure you would, Peter. But forgetting about it will be easier said than done, she retorted. The only way we're going to get to the bottom of this is to tackle it head on. I hung my head. I guess she's right. I turned back into the uncomfortable revelations emanating from the cassette player. Cousin's back garden, there's a fish pond. I don't know how but I fell in. We only went for the day so I didn't have a change of clothes and had to wear one of my cousin's dresses whilst my clothes dried on the washing line. He did fall in that pond once. But I can assure you he didn't. Try not to interrupt his chain of thought. Peter? Yes. Could you tell us about any other dreams where you've ended up wearing girls' clothes? Yes. I am trying to convince a teacher that I'm in the wrong class because this one's full of girls. Then I try to convince her that I'm in the wrong school because this one's full of girls. I tell her I'm a boy and shouldn't be here, and she tells me that lots of boys go to girls' schools. Hen I realize I'm wearing the same uniform as the girls and I take my seat. But I'm still angry because the teacher keeps calling us girls and she knows. It's an interesting theme, isn't it? My mother smugly stated as the tape ended. I couldn't rely on. The blood was rushing to my head and I'm certain I must have been purple with embarrassment.